Hey everybody, Mike Lomotan here from DSN. How are you? Today actually is a special day. We actually have one of our members who is not only a doctor, he's actually an entrepreneur. So we have Dr. Michael Lowe from Canada here. And the reason why I wanted to bring him on is actually Michael created a cool product called Tefball. And maybe I'll just kind of shoot the picture up here and I'll let Michael talk about it. But basically, it's essentially Teflon balls. And obviously, I'm not the clinical expert here, so I wanted to let him go into it. Maybe, Michael, can you talk to me about the history? Why did you create this? That actually seems like an ingenious idea, right? Versus using just regular Teflon tape. But maybe you could talk about your experience and what motivated you to create this type of product. Obviously, it says here made in the USA, but where is it made? And just kind of let's talk about the product and what you've seen clinically in terms of results as you used it.
Yeah, it's actually Versaflex. It's not made of Teflon, so it's a medical grade plastic. And the reason that is because it's a medical grade inert material, whereas Teflon traditional material was not. So yeah, so I think it's the only medical grade plastic used in this application right now. So yes, you're right. It's made in the States, so Massachusetts. And kind of why did I do it? You're asking me, how did we get to this point? So it was pretty much because traditionally we've used cotton pellets, Teflon tape, a number of things like that in the past. And so what I found was it was really like when you take it out, if it's been in there for a while, it's very stinky and retain moisture. And so therefore a lot of bacteria. And studies have shown with micro leakage, which happens over time in implants, that there will be infiltration of bacteria into that, and that can lead to bone loss and implantitis. So yeah, it's a great picture. Thanks. So that shows you. So what that is, it's actually a perfectly sized ball, if you will, that you just use some cotton pliers. You just grab it, and then you can insert it into the abutment space. So it sits over top of the screw access hole in between that and composite or whatever you guys say it differently down there, but over the filling material. And so it's easy to get out, easy to get in, so it saves time, so less chair time, more profitable in that sense. But I did it just because I thought we needed to do better, because the other materials I didn't feel good about, like, buying a piece of tape off the shelf at a plumber store, or a little piece of cotton. It's just not intended for that. And it's kind of weird that in dentistry this is a big gap for some reason. Nothing's been approved at this point. So it was basically like a 2-year journey to get to this point. A lot of work with concepts and coming up with the designs, and then making a prototype and testing the prototype, and going through the process of then patenting it, and going through the legal aspects, material selection, getting it produced at what could be a volume that's cheaper, because doing a single one-off for the prototypes it'd be impossible. So right. It took over 2 years to get to this point. And then material selection was very important to me, because I wanted to make sure that we had a clean material, something that was antimicrobial, something that didn't absorb moisture. I wanted to make sure it's easy to put in, easy to take out, because anyone who's done this was a pain in the butt. So those were primary concerns, because I didn't really, that's the reason it started. And then a long time people said, well, that's great, but also saves me time and money, which is a good bonus. Yeah. So it's more profitable. But my intent was just to make the product which I felt good about using it with my patients, that is not going to contribute to implant loss or bone loss, or just a bacteria laden zone. I didn't like that.
Now, was this material, was this reappropriated for this purpose? So what was the original use of this material? And I guess the second part of that question is this design yours? I mean, is there a significance of, the reason why you make it look like a landmine is to kind of increase the surface area there? Like what is how did you sort of go through that journey and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So the material, why did I choose that material you're saying?
Yeah. So what was it used
Oh,
originally?
yeah. So the materials original use, like I initially went down the road of you like thought like is Teflon material that kind of the way to go, that kind of plastic. But as I went down the road speaking with the medical device manufacturers, which is who produce this material, micromolding manufacturing, this is the material that they use in medicine. So if they're embedding devices that are to stay in the human body, so they're biocompatible, it's the material they use. So I want that, it doesn't get any better than that. So that's how it came to that material. And plus, that's the only material that you get like FDA approval for because the other ones
Okay.
you not. You can't, there's no way you can use a piece of tape off a shelf or a piece of cotton. It doesn't,
Right.
and then the design was intended because I wanted to be able to go in easy, easy to take out, and it's snug in there. So the kind of like the arms that come off it, that just makes
Yeah.
it snug against the walls, but allows me to get my instrument in there like an Explorer afterwards and pop it out if I need to.
Pop it out. Okay. Got it. Yeah, let's see on that. Now, did you have to go through uh, clinical trials for this? So when you say FDA approved, I know that they have different levels of approval. Did you actually have to go through clinical trials and submit, have this peer reviewed? What was that process like?
Yeah, so that process to go through the FDA process, so I worked with a company out of California. So it's kind of to go to the point where you actually get it, there are trials you got to go through, but we went through like the self-classification process because and using it off of similar products and using following it that. So you got to
Yeah.
be careful about these words you use though. So I don't want to say that because it's
No,
not.
I totally get it. I think the most important thing is that, the first hurdle is demonstrating safety, right? So, as
Yeah.
long as it doesn't cause any harm, that's pretty much that
So
first level.
yeah, the next step would be that, but in terms of like everything else along the way, so we got the material, we have the way they produce it, the environment, it's clean. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So this is awesome. I mean, it's unique in that typically the vendors that come to us are usually around software and supplies and about running the actual practice, right? So to meet you and have you come into the community is unique because you're bringing something that's very clinical in nature. And you're right, solving a problem that it's kind of funny. You go to the office and you just have cotton pellets and a roll of Teflon tape, and you wonder, huh, I guess it just works, and that's what people have been using for the longest time. And then you're right, you never really autoclave it, right? So it's as long as it's aseptic, I think that's pretty important to make sure that there's no follow-up or carryover
Mhm.
infections. So you were kind enough to give us a discount on this. And so in for those of you watching the video, in the show notes, you're actually going to see where you can actually reach out and how you can avail a discount. There is a code to it. But maybe you can tell us how best will people, how should they reach you or what kind of support you have around this? If a doctor were to actually buy this and start using it and had any questions, what do you recommend in terms of obtaining support for your product?
Yeah, the easiest way to do it is just tefball.com, Tefball. That's the easiest way. You can buy it on there. It's shipped directly from there. It's really easy. Payments all on the site there. So another thing, there's a lot of work to figure out is how to set up an e-commerce site and how to set up links with payments and everything. So it's it's been a crazy journey.
It's
So
a fun journey.
it's been fun. It's been fun. I actually talked about some of this too on Mark Costas's podcast too. There's a little more information if people want to listen on that. But yeah, so tefball.com, that's where you go, and then shipping is directly from there. And there's if you need to email me, there's contacts on there as well. So
Awesome. And then you're still practicing dentistry,
yeah,
right? You're still
yeah,
chairside.
up here in
And
Victoria.
how's that balance between running a company and then also running your clinic?
It's a lot of work. Luckily, I have someone to help me with this. I have my assistant who's been doing a lot of the work on this and kind of the social media campaign at this point. Like I getting to this point, I did all that, but that was a lot of work outside of clinical dentistry. You're right. So the day off was a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, a lot of uh, behind the scenes. So it's been a lot of work. Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine. I
Yeah,
like
and it's
I
rewarding,
like it.
right? So awesome.
That's what
Well,
people use it, right? That's what because
yeah, exactly. As long as people use it, and I'm going to give a shout out to Dr. Aaron Nicholas, right? So he actually used it in his course. He teaches a endomolar course, and
a great
he used
guy.
the product, and he actually had a lot of good things to say about it. So shout out to Dr. Nicholas over there. So
Awesome.
so this is awesome. I really appreciate you joining DSN, offering your product to our community, and actually just giving your peers the opportunity to get a discount on something that they should use and adopt. And then so definitely appreciate you there. So DSN folks, you know what to do, right? So when you read the show notes, go ahead and go ahead and click on the link. It'll lead you into the knowledge base and give you information on how to actually order the product. So Dr. Michael Lowe, any last words from you?
No, I think that's just thank you for your time. Thanks for putting me on here. I hope people use it. I think it's a good service for our patients, and that's why I did it. So
All
enjoy.
right. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you.